There's something comforting about a nightly routine, brushing your teeth, turning off the lights, fluffing the pillows just the way you like them. But for me, there's one more little ritual I've added that's made all the difference. I drink something simple every single night, and I haven't had a single issue with high blood pressure in over 10 years. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to sell you some miracle cure. I'm just sharing what's worked for me, plain and simple. And if you're someone who's ever sat at the doctor's office, hearing that your blood pressure is a little too high again, or you felt that pounding in your temples, the kind that creeps in without warning, then you'll want to hear this. Because the truth is, high blood pressure doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. And by the time it gets loud, it's already caused some damage. But the good news is, your body is always willing to respond if you treat it with a little patience, consistency, and care. That's exactly what I did. And tonight, I'm going to let you in on what's worked for me and might just work for you too. Before we dive in, do me a little favor. If you're someone who cares about your health and loves learning simple, natural ways to feel better and live longer, go ahead and click that like button. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And more importantly, it keeps us connected. All right, now let's get into it. When I turned 60, my blood pressure started creeping up. Slowly at first, just a few points higher than normal, but I could feel the difference. My energy wasn't the same, and I'd sometimes wake up with a slight headache that would linger for hours. At first, I brushed it off. It's just age, I told myself, but something inside me knew better. I knew I could do something too to change course before things got worse. I remember sitting at the kitchen table one night, reading a health article that mentioned how nighttime routines affect your cardiovascular system. It said your heart needs to wind down just like your mind does. That sentence stuck with me. So I started researching ways to calm both the mind and body before bed, and stumbled onto a warm drink that would soon become part of my life. It's not exotic, it's not expensive, and you probably already have the ingredients at home. What I started drinking was a combination of two simple things: warm water and a teaspoon of natural apple cider vinegar, sometimes with a little bit of honey and a dash of cinnamon. That's it, nothing fancy. But let me tell you, it made a world of difference. Now, before you roll your eyes or think, "I've heard about apple cider vinegar before," hear me out. It wasn't just the vinegar. It was the ritual, that quiet moment in the evening when I'd boil the kettle, stir in the ingredients, and sip slowly while sitting by the window. It became a signal to my body that the day was done and it was time to rest. That mental and physical signal, I believe, helped regulate more than just my heart rate. You see, apple cider vinegar has been studied for its effects on insulin sensitivity and cholesterol levels, both of which are connected to blood pressure. But beyond the science, I noticed something very real. My morning readings started to drop. Not dramatically, but consistently. I wasn't seeing those spikes anymore. My energy returned. I slept better. And the headaches? They faded. Of course, this drink wasn't the only thing I changed, but it was the first step, a small, manageable habit that gave me the confidence to build more healthy routines. That's why I always tell people, don't underestimate the power of simple changes, especially the ones that fit easily into your life. And yes, I still enjoy a little something sweet now and then, or miss a walk here or there, but this drink kept me grounded. It reminded me every evening to take care of myself, not just with food, but with intention. It helped me create a space of calm, and I believe that calmness alone helped lower my stress and, in turn, my pressure. I get messages from friends all the time asking me, "Does that little drink of yours still work?" And I smile and say, "Try it for a week. Not just the drink, make it a moment. Sit quietly, sip slowly. Think about how you want to feel tomorrow." That's the real secret, not in the ingredients, but in the way you treat the moment. And if you're still wondering, could something this simple really help me? Let me ask you this. What do you have to lose by trying? A warm cup before bed, a little care at the end of the day. Sometimes that's all it takes to start healing, something that's been ignored for too long. I know we all move at our own pace, and that's okay. But if you've made it this far in the video, maybe that's your heart telling you it's time to take the first step too. Not because you're scared, but because you finally believe you deserve to feel good again. Let's keep going, because there's more I want to share about what this journey taught me and what other little habits made a big difference along the way. After I made that little bedtime drink part of my nightly routine, something unexpected happened, not just physically, but mentally too. I started to feel in control again. You know that feeling? Like you're not just drifting with the current, but gently steering your own boat again. That kind of peace is rare after 60, when so many changes our health, our energy, even our sleep can start to feel like they're out of our hand. But taking that small step gave me a quiet kind of confidence. And once I saw my blood pressure readings start to level out, it was like a light bulb switched on. I thought, what else could I gently shift to help support this progress? Nothing drastic, just small changes, the kind that fit into real life. One of the first things I did was pay attention to what I was doing first thing in the morning. See, I used to wake up and go straight for the news, the phone, the emails, whatever was buzzing. And I didn't realize just how quickly that rush of information was setting my body into a stress response. My heart would start beating faster. I'd feel tense, and I hadn't even gotten out of bed properly yet. So I made a new rule for myself. No phone or TV for the first 30 minutes. Instead, I sit quietly. Sometimes I stretch. Sometimes I just stare out the window with a glass of room temperature water and take a few deep breaths. That silence in the morning is like giving your heart a head start on calm. And here's something interesting. Research actually supports this. Studies have shown that stress hormones like cortisol tend to peak in the early morning. So if you flood your mind with stressful news or noise right away, you're amplifying that surge. But if you ease in soft light, slow breathing, maybe even a little gratitude for the day ahead, you start on a calmer note, and that sets the tone for your blood pressure, too. That brings me to another quiet change I made, one that seemed too small to matter at first, but turned out to be one of the most important: cutting back on sodium, not by avoiding salt altogether, but by learning where the sneaky salt was hiding. You see, I thought I was doing okay. I wasn't pouring extra salt on my food. I cooked most meals at home. But what I didn't realize was that so many of the packaged healthy foods I was eating, like canned soups, low-fat dressings, even certain breakfast cereals, were absolutely packed with hidden sodium. So I started reading labels, just casually at first, nothing obsessive. But the more I noticed, the more I realized how easy it was to swap those things out. I found a low-sodium broth that still tasted great. I started seasoning more with herbs and lemon instead of reaching for the shaker. Little by little, my meals started tasting even better, and I didn't feel so puffy or tired after eating. And that's the thing. High blood pressure isn't just about the numbers on a screen. It shows up in the way you feel, how deeply you sleep, whether you wake up foggy or clear, if your feet swell at the end of the day. All these little signs are your body's way of waving a flag. We just have to slow down enough to notice. Now, speaking of slowing down, let me tell you about something I was resistant to at first, but ended up changing everything. Evening movement. I used to think exercise had to mean sweating at the gym or walking 5 miles a day. And honestly, that thought alone made me want to put my feet up and forget about it. But then I read a simple idea. Moving your body gently in the evening helps your blood vessels relax, supports better sleep, and actually lowers blood pressure overnight. So I started doing just 10 minutes of movement after dinner. Sometimes it's a walk around the block. Other nights it's just stretching in the living room or doing a few slow-standing yoga poses I found online. And I don't do it for weight loss. I don't do it to work out. I do it because it feels good. because it helps my body exhale. And when I go to bed after that, I sleep deeper. That alone has a powerful effect on my heart health. You'd be surprised how something so gentle can have such a lasting effect. But think about it. Our bodies were made to move, and yet so much of our day after 60 can become still. We sit to eat. We sit to watch TV. We sit to read, to talk, to rest. Movement isn't about pushing hard. It's about reminding your body it's still alive. It still works. And it still wants to support you. All of these small steps, the warm drink, the quiet mornings, the thoughtful meals, the light evening movement, they didn't happen all at once. They built over time, one by one. And I never made any of them feel like a rule. I treated them like a gift I was giving myself each day to feel just a little better, a little lighter, a little stronger. And if you're still with me, listening, I want you to know this. There's no such thing as being too late. Whether you're 60, 70, or well into your 80s, your body is still listening to everything you do. And it's still capable of healing, of regulating, of resetting. Sometimes it just needs a bit of kindness from you to get started. So if you're looking at your blood pressure monitor every week and wondering when things will change, maybe start small. 1 cup, 1 breath, 1 stretch. That's all it takes to remind your heart, I'm still here. I'm still trying. Sometimes the biggest changes in our health don't come from medications or doctor's visits. They come quietly, one small act of self-care at a time. And the more I leaned into those simple routines, the more I realized that high blood pressure wasn't just something to fix. It was something to understand. It was my body's way of speaking to me. And for the first time in years, I was finally listening. One thing I hadn't expected on this journey was how much my stress was tied to my numbers. I mean, sure, we all know stress is bad, but I had no idea how much those little daily irritations, the ones I brushed off, ignored, bottled up, were affecting my heart. I noticed that after particularly tense days, my blood pressure would climb, not wildly, but noticeably. And when I had peaceful evenings, it dipped. So I started to look at stress not as something to eliminate, because let's face it, life is never stress-free, but as something to learn how to respond to. And for me, the turning point was discovering something called restful breathing. Nothing fancy. Just 5 minutes before bed, eyes closed, breathing in slowly through the nose, then out through the mouth longer on the exhale. At first, I didn't notice much, but after a week, my sleep got deeper. I felt calmer in the mornings. And the best part? My resting heart rate dropped, and my blood pressure followed right behind it. The body listens when the mind gets quiet, and that breathing became the anchor of my bedtime routine, alongside that warm cup of apple cider vinegar and honey. But this isn't just about blood pressure numbers or health hacks. It's about a bigger truth, something I didn't realize until I was well into my 60s. And it's this. We have more control than we think. We are not helpless in the face of aging. We're not just passengers waiting for things to break down. We're still the captains of our own ship. And every little choice we make, what we eat, how we move, how we think, either helps us sail smoother or invites the storm. I used to think getting older meant slowing down, giving up certain pleasures, shrinking my world. But what I've learned is that aging is really about refining how we care for ourselves, how we spend our energy, and who we spend it with. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters more often. So here's another small but powerful thing I added to my day: magnesium. After talking to a nutritionist friend and reading a bit about it, I started taking a magnesium supplement before bed. And wow, what a difference! It helped with muscle cramps, improved my sleep, and even seemed to help stabilize my blood pressure more consistently. Turns out, magnesium helps relax blood vessels and supports heart function. And since so many of us over 60 are low on it due to medications or just natural decline, it's one of those quiet helpers that doesn't get enough credit. I don't take many pills, but this one earned its place on my nightstand. Of course, none of this is magic. I still have off days. There are mornings when I forget to stretch, evenings when I just want a slice of cake and a movie. But that's the beauty of this path. It's not all or nothing. It's about balance, about knowing that every small effort adds up. One better night's sleep, one calmer response to stress, one less processed snack. It's all progress. And one of the most powerful things I did something you can do starting today, to write things down. Not for anyone else, just for you. I started keeping a little notebook by my bed. Nothing fancy, but every night I jot down 3 things: what I drank, how I felt, and what my blood pressure reading was, if I took it. After a few weeks, patterns began to emerge. I could see what helped, what didn't. I wasn't guessing anymore. I was learning from my own body. That notebook became a quiet little partner in this journey. And now, looking back through it, I can see just how far I've come. If you've made it this far in the video, I want you to know something. You're not alone. There are thousands of people out there, maybe even millions, who are waking up each day wondering if their best years are behind them, wondering if they'll ever feel truly well again. But I'm here to tell you the answer is yes. Yes, you can feel better. Yes, you can take back control. And yes, you deserve it. You don't need to climb mountains. You don't need to become a health expert. You just need to start where you are with one small choice tonight. Maybe it's a warm cup before bed. Maybe it's 5 minutes of breathing. Maybe it's swapping that salty snack for something fresh and simple. Whatever it is, do it with kindness, with intention, and with the belief that your health is still worth showing up for. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you something. If anything in this video has sparked a thought, a memory, or even a question, would you share it in the comments? I love hearing your stories. They remind me that this channel isn't just a space for talking about health, it's a community of people who care, who are still growing, still learning, still trying. If this video spoke to you, I'd be so grateful if you gave it a like or shared it with someone you love. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so we can keep having these conversations together. Because at the end of the day, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about listening to your body, treating it with care, and remembering that it's never too late to feel good again. So tonight, when you make your evening drink, don't just sip it, celebrate it. Celebrate that you're still here, still learning, still choosing health. One small habit at a time. Here's to living your best life at any age.